for the Oh my gosh, I didn't get a chance. This is just added today, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Some basic.
We are live. All right. It is 7:03. Let's start off the May 22nd, 2024 Almont Downtown Development Authority. First, we're going to start off with a call of order before the Pledge of Allegiance.
Ashley Blesser here. Mr. Booth present.
Steve Schneider present.
Ollie Miller present.
E. Rose Clark present.
Melissa Schneider present.
Tricia Feldman present.
All right, let's go into the pledge.
Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Any additions or deletions to the agenda? And I did roll call backwards, but whatever.
I did add, the Village Shirt Company sent their facade grant in for their sign. I added it under communications. We'll have it on the agenda next month, like as an agenda item to approve, but
Okay.
that was the only,
So are we talking through it today? We're not talking through it. It's just a communication. Is that correct?
we can talk through it, but I didn't add it as a motion because it was
Sent today.
sent today. So
Oh,
I
So
would
just look at it
prefer it be
tomorrow,
on
yeah.
the, like, actual agenda next month, if that's okay with everybody. And then we also need to discuss the raffle we can add it under discussion if you want, for Heritage Festival.
is that in here too?
I did not add that on.
It came up during our
Yep. it's
Heritage Fest
just-
meeting.
All right.
Do you want it as item C on discussion then?
Yeah, let's just do it there.
All right. Is there more to this application? I know we're talking about next meeting, but Trish, did you do a sign permit?
Oh, well, yeah. That
Is
was
it, I don't see
$50.
it. And there's,
I forgot that I had it. Is that part of the reimbursement?
yeah, that's part of isn't that part of the application process? Don't we need the sign permit in there?
Yeah, I believe I need to just verify that it was
Verify,
filed, but
right.
village
And then
council or village staff was.
I think we also need written approval from your landlord for you to put the sign up since you don't own the building. I think that's part of the facade grant.
Well, that in place in order to get the permit.
Okay.
So, well, permit is suffice. He needed that
Perfect.
from her, so.
Okay,
Okay.
then yeah,
order
that
to
should work.
Yeah.
I thought there was more pages to it, but, okay. Yeah, so I guess resubmit it or send that in so we can do it next month.
Yep, and then I'll add that to June's agenda already.
That's it for additions or deletions?
Yeah, unless you have any.
No.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda with the additions mentioned by Angela for the discussion of C.
We have Jim Wade though, but we can take that. Let's take that motion and then we'll have.
Oh, I'm
We're
sorry.
just jumping all over
I'm
the board
sorry.
today.
I was like, what's
I'm
happening?
ready.
We're gonna
Angela,
do,
go
we're gonna
ahead.
do the Pledge of Allegiance again.
Yeah,
That's
okay.
okay.
Let's start this
We
all
got
over again.
that out of the way. Wait, she made a motion. Does
I'll
anyone-
second.
Perfect.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Sorry, guys.
You're good, you're good, you're good. All right. So now communications?
Now we can address Jim's communication if you would like. He has submitted a letter that's in your packet, advocating for the addition of his shed to behind the Historical Society. If you would like to read through it and
Are we-
ask him any questions you would like.
Are we going to be following the agenda, meaning if there's a communication being provided now, are we going to wait until it comes up on our agenda to discuss it? Or are we supposed to, or do you desire to just address, that the board address it?
I think we should address under new
Right after
business.
Yep, that's
communication.
fine.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep, because it's on there already. So I
Yeah.
just want to make sure that everybody looked it over, knew it was there. That was it. All right.
So that is going to new business.
Yeah, it's
It's already on.
It's already there.
Oh, yeah.
It's already
Okay.
there.
Yep.
But there's a communication plus new business for it. So,
Sorry.
so just make sure you're reviewing it or know it's there for that. We already approved the consent agenda. All right, so let's go to the minutes.
Public comment.
Public comment.
Oh, public. Jeez.
What's wrong?
All
with
right,
us tonight?
I don't know. It's Wednesday. Is there any public comment on an agenda item?
I don't even know what's on the agenda.
Oh, boy.
They're over there.
I don't
Did
even know
you
anymore
sign
either.
Look at the agenda.
They're by the door.
You're late, I just got back from the bridge.
Oh, come on.
Jim,
Element
if you,
agenda.
yeah, Jim, if you want to make a, that's what I was waiting for. Jim, you can, because it's an agenda item, you can, if you want to use this time for public comment, you're welcome to.
I think I said what I needed to say in the letter.
Okay,
Okay.
There's much else that I can add.
okay,
I've got questions.
Yeah.
okay.
I do have a question. We have Mr. Jim Wade and Mr. John Divo. Okay, got it.
Didn't sign in.
He didn't even take an
Just
agenda.
kidding. I'm just kidding.
All right, now, where am I going?
Minutes?
I know.
The
Approval.
minutes.
Now we can go to minutes that I already brought up. Approval of minutes, we're gonna need it for April of,
I have one correction, I think, for the new business under finance. It says abstain one. Should that also detail that it was Steve who was the one who abstained?
That's what I was going to raise. It
Okay.
does need to indicate who it was that abstained. You can infer how everybody else voted from the votes, but abstention should show who it was that abstained.
correct.
And that was me.
So I would put Kay Booz seconded, Steve Schneider abstained.
But what says abstain one, you can put Schneider,
Okay,
a hyphen or Schneider, whatever you're comfortable with. But it does not, it does have to have the detail in the minutes, so people read it afterwards, know what happened. And subject to any corrections by Holly.
I do have some corrections.
Would you see her eyes?
I was just waiting for you to be done talking. So under reports, B, I appreciate the detail. Second, though, it's the second to last sentence. We have officially backed out of that closing, but not the deal. That's not correct. I would prefer if it said the closing has been postponed. We didn't back out of the closing. The closing was not able to be completed. So I would just put closing has been postponed, please. It's kind of incorrect.
Where was this at? I'm sorry.
The second to last sentence, it
Closing
goes
Next
onto
page,
the
next
third
page.
page.
Okay.
Yeah, at the top of the
Yeah.
third page, where it says we have officially backed out of that closing, but not the deal. I
Oh,
would just
yeah.
prefer it say the closing has been postponed. And this is kind of a question for you because you know all the rules, Steve. On our new business finance, the motion, should the motion have the amended dollar amounts in it for the budget? That was my
Yes.
thought. Is that motion should read with the amended dollar amounts for everything that was amended, please?
Correct.
so list all those
Correct.
changes.
Yes. I think that is important.
Yeah, because reading this, no one will know. And for convenience and other sakes, these pages should be numbered. Well, some of them are, some of them aren't.
You're talking about for minutes?
Yeah,
The pages should be numbered.
well, yeah, I mean,
The
if you're
whole
doing a
agenda?
packet,
The whole
Are you talking
agenda
about
or
your
just the
packet?
minutes?
pardon?
Are you talking about your packet, your new packet?
Yes,
number the
What page?
I mean, if
Pages?
you're referring to
I can do that.
pages in the minutes, if you hit page number, it would help.
Okay.
Perfect.
So the hard part is that's gonna change, per meeting, right? Because some meetings are gonna have more or less minutes, so maybe just the minutes should have page numbers. Because our agenda usually is just front and back.
What I'm suggesting, and it's only a suggestion, is that you have specific page numbers for each page in the packet. Of course, the page numbers are going to change. And so in council packets, the minutes have the particular page numbers
So,
of what they are in the packet.
oh, so that the minutes don't have page numbers, just the
The
packet.
entire
Just the
packet
entire
numbered.
packet. Okay.
The entire packet.
That would be helpful sometimes when we're trying to reference things, yes, and everyone's flipping.
I can do that.
Okay.
That's it.
I guess my question is, would that fall under minutes? Because that's the whole
No.
packet, right?
No, he's
So
just,
making a suggestion.
Yes.
So I
That's
just want to make
Angela.
sure that's Angela.
me?
That's not a
Angela,
Trish charge. I just
Yes.
want to make sure that's there.
Yep.
Okay. With that being said, does anybody have a motion on the minutes?
So moved.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. All right. Approval of bills payable. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, total of $2,415.48.
I'll make a motion unless anyone has a question.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? All right, move forward. Treasurer's report. April revenue expenditures, we're going to need approval for that.
I'll make a motion to approve April's revenue and expenditure report.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right.
Who was the support on that?
Krista.
Krista.
Thank you.
April check disbursement. We're going to need a motion for that as well.
I'll make a motion to approve the April check disbursement. Second.
Further discussion? Krista was that one too. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right. Reports, DPW report. That's just in there for reference. If anybody has any concerns or questions, shout them out. I don't think we had that in here. Hold on. No, I was gonna make a question about the area that got hit. Do you want to update everybody on that? I know you,
Director's report.
you do. Okay, all right.
You want me to go to that?
No, we'll just skip it. We'll move to it. No questions on DPW. All right, let's go to your report then.
All right,
I knew I saw it somewhere.
been a busy month.
Double check.
I have a question. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I'm looking at this now, the check disbursement. The appraisal that went to Holly, that check,
Mhm.
is that for,
That was for the American Legion.
okay,
Yes.
I just want to make sure that
Yep.
there wasn't, okay.
She had to pay on her credit card because they would only.
Yeah, no, I just wanted, I know that we talked about the appraisals last time, and so I just want to make sure. Okay, good. Sorry.
You're fine.
Interrupting.
All right, Ms. Director, go ahead.
Okay, it's been a busy month. Heritage Fest, I think, talked about at our Heritage Fest meeting. There is an ad that will be in the Tri-City Times for both Heritage Festival as well as our Jeep Cruise and Bike Nights in their summer festival events pullout edition. Gonna meet with the restaurant owners to discuss coordinating food and beverage sales. Our first cruise night was amazing. The weather was perfect. I think we had like 12 cars total, which was better than last year's first night. Hopefully with the addition of it in the Tri-City Times, we'll get a better turnout. But it was a fun night. With that being said, I created a sign up genius. If anyone can help sign up, that would be much appreciated. Our social district has officially been approved by the state, and Village Council last night approved our first tavern license holder, which is Mikey's. I noted this in there, but with that being said, now that council has stated what they would like to see from the remaining license holders, I'll be putting together a how-to page with the application to take to the remaining businesses so they know exactly what and how to bring it to council so that there are no hiccups. Obviously, a little bit of a learning curve for me as well, so I was happy to have clarity from council last night on what they would like to see so that we can make it a seamless process going forward. The fountain opened today. I've been working with Landscape Direct. They opened it today. Our flowers will be delivered Friday from American Tree. Smathers Masonry, who fixed our dumpster corral and the fountain in the fall, will be fixing the brick bench thing in the pocket park that DPW hit, and the village is going to cover the cost because the damage was incurred by DPW. Sorry, Steve. I sent a notification email today to a business owner in town whose tenants have more vehicles than the zoning board approved in the Branch Street parking lot. So hopefully that takes a little bit of the congestion out. So,
What business is that?
Aurora. Dan.
Is that the moon plate? Or the...
No.
No,
Um,
other side,
Oh.
The tenants?
southwest corner.
Oh,
yeah.
we're talking about real estate. Okay.
Yeah, so he asked me to send a notification so that he could give it to his tenants who have more vehicles than
What?
What is that?
I would say for clarification, what is it, one per?
Nope. One of the apartments was granted one parking spot and one was granted two.
Okay.
Because one's a 3-bedroom and one's a 1-bedroom. So 3 spots total is what the zoning board approved in their variance for that. So
But how many extra parking spots? I'm just curious. Are they using?
currently I believe the one that has 1 parking spot allotted has 4 vehicles.
What happens if they're not gonna be moving their things? Then what course of action do we have?
Well,
Can we have it towed? We can have it towed ourselves, like you would call the tow truck?
I believe so.
Okay.
Yep.
They're
Okay.
gonna give notice. They're
I
gonna
just
give
want to make
notice
sure we're
first.
not having to rely on code enforcement to do.
It's
so.
our lot, and there's no overnight parking except for the exemptions made by the zoning board when they approve the variance for the apartment. So I believe that would be me
I would
calling,
assume
but-
that's part of their lease with their landlord, right?
Correct.
So their landlord could do something about it if he chose to as well.
He's working with us, so I think we'll be okay, but just wanted to make note in case. We had to make CCA and OEO aware of several issues in the DDA district. There was, am I naming businesses? I had to call on Andy's building because of the grass. Sorry.
I don't own it, for the record.
He doesn't own it, but it was, the steps and landscaping at Roots, the steps are falling apart. That was CCA. Sherry's Barbershop, the awning, and then Nicotre's grass and weeds behind their building. So hopefully those all get addressed. I know one of them already was. So.
And I would like to say, like, if the board sees things that need to be addressed or that need to be handled that are either code or ordinance issues, please bring them to Angela, Andy, me, whoever, or go straight to CCA or OEO yourself. I don't care. And get it taken care of, please. We need our downtown to look nice with all the things that we're doing. And if building owners can't take care of their property, it's kind of part of our job to make sure that that's going to happen.
Well, especially if it's a safety or health concern. I mean, look, no different than, the old chiropractor that went on for years and she had a battle with it. But if somebody would have called that years ago, it maybe wouldn't have got to the situation it was with all that mold in there. So again, I would too. And I appreciate you not playing favorites. I mean, it is an unfortunate part of the job, but it is what it is. So.
Do you
And
know
share-
what's happening with 134? My old
34?
building? The building I was in.
I've heard that she's closed for remodeling, but she does not believe she's going to reopen due to the nature of the building. I
The
believe
nature of the building.
It was sinking when
it's
we were there.
falling
Yeah.
apart.
Okay.
I don't have any updates from CCA, but
Is Sherry's Barbershop, did we approve a facade grant for them recently?
I don't think
I
it
think just
included the awning.
Chickies.
Oh, it was Chickies.
It was
Okay.
Chickies,
It was
and
Chickies.
Toth has is
call it.
filling out paperwork on the awning for Sherry's already. It'll probably be on the June agenda.
So it's being fixed then?
Yes.
Okay. That's what I thought. I thought something was going on with Sherry's. I was like,
Yes.
okay.
And that'll be corrected.
Other than that, I think everything. I mean, you can read everything else. Meetings.
How's the feedback conversations going with you've been reaching out to all the businesses for priorities. How's the approach been? What's the feedback from?
I think it's all going well. I think people are appreciative that I'm stopping in. I'm trying to be very cognizant of not interrupting them if they are, they're all business owners. So if they're busy and they're doing things, I just, say hi and make note to go back. But yeah, I think it's all going well.
Just
I don't know
See,
if they
there's
would tell me negative feedback to my face, but. I think
Well, they
it's all going-
should. They should. That's we're here working for them.
Absolutely.
So just remind them when we're at where we're here. And as we threw out before, some of them, and I can't come to this, maybe we plan a lunch, like you're meeting one of them at the restaurants at 3:00,
Yeah,
maybe
yeah.
just so they know what we're doing. That's my 2
Absolutely.
cents. Anybody have anything for Angela in her report?
Mural
Oh, yeah.
update.
I've reached out to a few other DDA directors that have murals in their districts to find out what, if they utilize grants, what their process was for deciding what would go there. So, and I've also reached out to the MDA, and I've been looking into grants that we could apply for that, but I would like to get the feel of what the process is like from other directors, just, and even just down to the, like, how did they choose what was going up there, because it's gonna be up there for a while.
Did you get an idea of how much it might cost to have a mural?
I mean, it's gonna depend on the size, and it's significant investment, so.
Okay.
Like, if we're gonna cover the majority of that wall, it's
2-story building.
gonna be a lot,
So-
like over $10,000.
Okay.
So.
So that's
So if we-
grant writing right
Half of
there.
that covered, which is probably,
If we put that mural up and Dan decides to sell that building, then the new owners can just paint over it?
He could put something in there that they couldn't if we asked him to do that.
Correct.
Okay.
I think if we do
and
it.
not let Dan sell that building.
Right.
Exactly, that too.
Okay.
But yeah, no, he could put something in it, and we could have something in writing with Dan that the mural would not be covered for X number of years. So
Okay.
we could absolutely put something in
Okay.
writing in regards to that.
Good question, though.
Yeah.
Moving on to new business finance. Again, this is going back to the communications we got, the Historical Society shed. Jim from Historical Society has asked for a shed to be added after our communication. We have talked through it before. He wants us to rethink of it again. I'll just say what I've got to say on this one, because Jim and I, go ahead.
Can I, a point of order?
Yeah.
I'd like to play nasty attorney.
Sure.
Sure. So this issue is brought before the board,
Yeah.
discussed,
Yeah.
motion made, and it was denied. So there was a vote taken. There has to be some basis for you, essentially, because what you would have to do is rescind the prior motion and provide some basis for rescinding the vote that was taken on that motion and on this issue. So I don't see a basis for bringing it back, since you've already done it, and a basis for rescinding the prior board approval or denial, and it was denied. So I think it's improperly on the agenda.
So how would we have to have that on the agenda?
We need some basis for why the prior decision of the board was wrong, incorrect, misunderstood, misapprehending.
I guess if there was information like that we based our motion on and it was incorrect, something along the lines of that?
Something to the fact
I
that
was
at the time frame, it didn't call for gravel. That was one of the exceptions we had. And I know, talking with Jim, they're willing to do that. So at the time they said no, but now they're willing to do the gravel. The other thing that was brought up is we were concerned that it would turn into this shed, that shed, this shed, that shed. And behind Rustic Bluebird is a shed that is there. And that has been there now for 2 years. So our stance on we don't want to turn into a bunch of sheds around. There's actually another shed that's out there within the area. So the two things that we brought up that were concerns prior can be remediated with this conversation.
That's fine. You'll have to rescind.
We'd have to
prior.
rescind it.
Yeah.
Right. You bring up a good point. I'm not disagreeing with you.
Mhm.
I'm just saying you're asking for why, and that's why Jim's here right now.
Oh, I know why he's here.
Yeah.
He wants it. He wasn't happy with the last vote, so let's do it again.
Well, at the time frame, we weren't talking through what our issues were. We said what they were, but he wasn't here going through that, right? Since then, he has approached us at cruise night, and we talked through those couple different things that might change in the view of the board. Are you good with us leaving it if we talk through that? No?
I'll tell you that I had a very, big problem with this. You made a motion, you passed it, and you did not communicate it to the Historical Society.
It's your job to follow what's done here. We're on YouTube. You can attend meetings.
I'm
So,
sorry.
so the fact that you're saying
No,
that
that's not the way
the decision,
communication works. Your job to communicate. You made the decision.
it's your job to follow because it was communicated. We're on gosh darn television and you're telling us you can't know. Did you come to the meeting? No, you didn't. Did you watch it on YouTube? Apparently you didn't. Would you like to continue to yell with me, Mr. Wade? That's not very polite.
I'm sorry.
All right.
My voice
So-
got raised.
It did. I read your letter and you weren't happy with the board's prior decision. I understand that.
All right, how about this? I'm gonna ask the board, you raised some good information, Steve. I'm not disagreeing with anything that you're saying. I've said, some changes that were not originally in those plans and the thoughts to what we talked about are different. I'm gonna poll the board as far as is this something we want to entertain or go through procedure as Jim or as Steve is saying?
Can you clarify again? You said that the shed would be on what?
It would be on a gravel pad. So originally it was just setting on the grass. I brought up the exception, those should sit on gravel pad. A, stop it from sinking in. B, it makes a cleaner surround for it. It just makes a whole cleaner type
What's
environment.
a gravel pad?
Crushed
Gravel
limestone,
under it
crushed
instead
limestone.
of dirt, because it could sink in the dirt
Right.
potentially.
Okay.
It was just going to originally be set on the grass. And my concern was we can't just have it set on the grass. And as I said, if it's sitting on the grass, that stuff starts to sink or whatever, that's an issue. It also, because it is grass, starts to rot, all that other stuff, it could be a spot for animals to leave and everything. Generally, if you have gravel, that mitigates a lot of things from crawling underneath
Okay.
there because of it.
Thank you for clarifying that.
Yeah. So, Steve, can we take a poll of the board to see if we want to rediscuss this or can we not?
Well, that would be somewhat unusual, but you are the chair and I'm very approving in the manner in which you chair this board. So if you want to do that, go ahead.
In again, conversations we've had, an openness to work with our businesses or historical society, I would prefer polling the board to willing if we're going to talk through this again. If that's a no, then we're just not going to, and it's a viewpoint at this time. And our original resolution stays.
Yeah.
So can we get a poll from everybody? Yes or no? I'll need a yes or no from everybody and name. Ashlyn?
Start.
Yes.
I don't know.
And you're just okaying us rediscussing it. You're not approving it, just rediscussing it.
Yeah, I guess we can.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes,
Krista,
Chris
yes.
votes yes.
No.
Yes, I'm open to discussing it.
Yes, I'd like to rediscuss it. Yeah.
So 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't need to.
You get a,
I would agree in rediscussing.
Yeah, no, you
I-
can.
you're supposed
Okay.
to have a say.
Well, I didn't know if it was majority, so
No, you do
Um,
get to vote.
yeah. I would agree and let's rediscuss this. Okay.
Fine.
Again, with the new light of information, the shed that was displayed, white vinyl siding, windows, it's built like a house. It is mobile. The concerns that were brought up before were, again, it's sitting on grass. We don't want to turn this into shed row. If anybody has other thoughts or whatever to go through this, please talk through them now.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I have things to say. I wasn't here for the initial discussion. I did obviously see it in our packet at the time, but I think I was on vacation. My thoughts would be, as a DDA board, we have no control over who puts what on their property, I don't believe. But in this instance, we obviously do because it is our property. But we don't have control over whether Dan puts a shed behind his building, or most people don't really have space, let's be real. But I don't think that is a DDA board decision. So we need to look at this, in my opinion, as a landlord-tenant situation, which is truly what this is. I'm not opposed to it. I understand there's a need for it. I would and I know you're not gonna like this, Jim, I'm sorry, I would prefer it on a cement base so it looks nicer. I think gravel's gonna grow weeds and it's not gonna look as nice. That's my personal opinion. But I'm not against it.
Can I throw something out there? And I sorry to use the term gravel. Crushed limestone is the answer, right? Because
It's still
whatever. If you do a heavy fabric and border it in, treated 2x4s, it
I can get on
locks
board
up.
with-
It locks
I
up like
can get
cement.
on board with bordering it, and as long as I don't want it to be a weed growing ugly. I don't want it to look like trash. That's all. Especially if we were putting a really nice building there, which it looks like a very nice building and what you had sent us before. So
I can tell you, I only know this because that's how my cabin and my barn are built up north by the Amish, and nothing grows through there.
Okay.
So as long as it's poured
I'm-
thick enough,
I'm
nothing
not
does.
opposed to that.
So
With
I
a nice
think one
border
of the
around it.
reasons why, one of the things was that we were tearing up the little patch of grass back there there's no other grass behind there. What happens to the shed if the Historical Society is no longer there operating, considering that I believe it was at the end of the year, you're going to be stepping down and there's no clear succession plan. What happens to the shed? Is it our responsibility? We have to pull the permits probably, or do we give permission?
Probably just give permission, I would imagine.
Okay.
and they did come. It does fall within code. It has the correct setbacks from what they shared before.
Understand that building, when we got it back from the Genesee Park Board, was with a commitment that it be used as a museum in perpetuity.
Does that mean forever?
It's not, the museum's going nowhere.
No, I'm not saying that's
No one's
going
saying
nowhere.
yes.
I'm saying that if no one is there to take your place and nobody is
Care of
taking
it?
care of the building, what is the shed there forever? I mean, like, how do we have it removed if we wanted to repurpose that area for something else? Then what happens?
It's like on the gravel. It can be moved, it can just be sold and pulled away.
Right. Well, I think Melissa's point is then it's our cost and our problem is what she's getting at. It's something for us to consider.
So that would be a landlord-tenant deal,
Right.
right?
And it would be our responsibility to deal with it if the tenant, for whatever reason, left the
Right.
space, whatever.
Can
My,
we have that in writing now?
that it would become our property if they, I mean, I don't see, you can put anything in writing, that's fine.
It's simple landlord-tenant law.
Yeah.
You don't need
Um,
anything. in
my
writing.
You don't
other-
need it?
Pardon?
You don't need anything?
No.
No.
Okay. The other thing I wanted to point out was we were at cruise night looking in that direction. It would be really nice actually because the building would cover up the ugliness of what is past it. It would kind of be a nice blocker, honestly.
Yeah.
That was my other thought last week.
Exact opposite opinion. I lived there. I owned the building 145, which is the building immediately north of the Historical Society. So I lived there. And built up that whole area, trees, brush, flowers.
Sadly, it's not
May- may-
maintained.
Pardon?
Sadly, it's not maintained.
No. So be it. The village is very much opposed to that shed going there from the aesthetics point of view, that shed there. And as far as, looking at that particular area, I know village administration is opposed to it, I think planning commission and probably council. And so I didn't raise the objections just to be, for legalities and old technologies. I'm opposed to that shed going there as far as the aesthetics for that particular area. So that's my take on why I raised the issue in opposition in the first place. The village does not want that shed there for the
I
aesthetics of it.
I know the importance that historical societies, they do need space because every year we're getting more and more stuff. And I know other cities, they do have sheds for them out behind the historical society. I think it would look nice. It would cover up if you're on the one side looking. We walk through town every night and we see the good and the bad. But with putting one shed there, what's stopping the next person from putting one? But would it be possible, like how we have the storage with the container, to have one for them as well?
I think that we offered use of our storage container to store some of the stuff, and you guys, I think there was maybe concerns of getting the items from the Historical Society to there, or just because you guys are older and having to move it. That I think
It's a transport issue. I'm always willing to help.
The determination been made, because it's in the minutes for last meeting, there is room in the DDA storage container for the Almont Historical Society
There is.
to use. Is it sufficient for what the Historical Society needs are?
is there a
for
way?
storage?
I guess what is the objection to using the DDA storage unit? If we were to have the DPW assist you in when you like needed to swap out for seasons or something like that, or
Probably could get the
There are
DPW
gonna
to assist.
be things stored there that I need access to in a very short time frame.
okay,
All right, I can't store it inside, it's in the shed behind. If somebody comes in and they're looking for pictures or records of their family, I've got them in the shed. I don't have to run down to the park. Or I've got a society member was offered a pod, but it's 3 miles out of town. All right, it's not functional.
I understand 3 miles out of town not being functional, but it's, if you put a shed up, then Mikey's is gonna put a shed up. Rosa's has no space, they're gonna put a shed up. And that's such a small space. I am absolutely for you having more storage. But that's such a small space, and that side is just like the front. It's
I understand.
where the parking is where
Rosa
everybody
doesn't
sees it.
have any space, and they would use a shed. But Mikey's has a basement. The old Terry building has a basement. They don't need sheds. Those are the only places that could have one.
Didn't
I
corrupt.
find the argument you'd have sheds popping up all over the place specious.
It isn't specious, and to corroborate Krista's point, in supporting relooking at this issue, the chairman indicated, well, we should be hearing Jim Wade's request because there's a shed for roots, so obviously the precedent's been set, and it'll further the precedent, opening up for further shedding. So contradicting your argument, there you go.
Just to clarify, it's rustic bluebird, not roots.
Whichever,
I know, just
whichever.
And
point of correction.
is it not true? They still have to get their permit approved, right?
Pardon?
He would still have to get the permit approved by the
That's-
village planning, whatever it is.
Planning commission, I
So
believe, has already.
we're just, as a landlord, denying or giving approval. So I just want to make sure you understand
Yeah,
that
no,
just because
I-
we tell Jim he can, doesn't mean everyone else can. They all would have to get their permits approved, and that's not by us. So
Right.
I just want to say
But
that.
this is on our
Mhm.
property
Mhm.
that I think it would be great because I know they do need storage. And if it doesn't get approved, would using either our storage facility or putting the shed over there or getting another pod over where we have ours. I live in town and I work from home. I'm more than happy to do transport.
As far as I'm concerned, there's one option. All right, if we're gonna operate the museum as it needs to be operated, I need ready access to the materials. And the only way to do that is with the shed in that.
There's other ways, and especially if you are stepping down at the end of the year, it's the new person who would be coming. Would it be a problem for them as well?
Based on my discussions, yes.
What about thinking inside the box? Is there a way to improve storage within your building that would allow more organization more functional organization so that you could effectively put, things that you don't necessarily need up higher, build out something.
The storage space above the furnace and restroom is stuffed. Along the south wall in the back room is shelving stuffed. And I have totes sitting around all over the place.
On a separate note, who pays for the insurance for the property?
Should be covered under the municipal policy, correct? Because it's our building.
So would that increase our insurance for another thing on site? I'm just asking.
Would imagine if it did at
Yeah.
all, it would be minimal.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, because whenever we get the quotes on insurance, there's a clear indication and specifications as to each property, what's on it. So would it raise it a lot? I mean, how much is the shed going to cost? Do we have a price on the shed?
It was in the old
They're
packet, sorry.
paying for the
They're
shed.
paying for
yeah.
it.
Right.
I
but
think it was
it's-
close to $5,000.
Okay. Yeah.
I actually
So,
have a follow-up question. Do you guys have a tenant insurance policy? Does the Historical Society have an insurance policy on your stuff?
Yeah,
Just thought about
in the
that.
contents, if in the shed, yeah.
And what was the size of it again? It was what?
Hold on.
16
10
by
by 16.
10 by 16. So
10 by 16.
So it falls underneath, so Michigan Construction Code, anything under 200 square feet, you don't need a permit anyway for. Now, ordinance wise, you have to make sure it's right of setback. So really for us, per what Steve said, this is just a landlord, are we okay with it issue.
Is the ordinance 200 feet or is it 100?
It's 200.
For in,
Michigan Construction Code is 200
for in the
square.
village though?
That's state of Michigan.
Okay.
Now, could you have, you might need a permit for setbacks to make sure your setbacks are okay. But Michigan Construction Code is anything less than 200 does not need a building permit.
Just to clarify, Planning Commission has already approved the location and the size, correct?
Oh, it's never come before planning commission, which I know because I sit on it.
Oh, CCA
It's contingent,
approved it.
yeah, it's
Sorry.
contingent.
CCA
yeah.
approved it. So size-wise, it's not an issue. The big question is as long as it's hitting all the setbacks, it's really a landlord approval issue. I only say that because and I'm throwing out now, Mikey's doesn't own the Mikey's behind them, right? That's owned by Maria's, correct? If Maria's wants to put a 200 square foot shed there and they satisfy all their setbacks, there's nothing we can do about it as far as for saying anything. We really can't.
Correct, we just could refuse a facade grant
Correct.
if they applied for one.
Correct.
This is going to be 10 feet tall, 10-foot walls.
8-foot walls with
8 foot high. Wow.
Oh,
With a hip.
With the peak.
okay.
Yeah.
So what needs to happen here?
Well, we've already had a motion, so unless somebody's willing to throw out a motion, there's nothing to happen.
So we would need to make a motion to rescind our previous motion.
If we want to. Right now, the motion stands. We've given Jim an opportunity to re-explain himself with the updates. At this point in time, nothing can happen, or someone can make a motion to rescind the other, and then we re-motion. If that's the case, then someone then has to bring up a motion to approve.
I would make a motion to rescind our previous motion. Do we need dates, times, and all that? Because I don't know when it was made. I wasn't here. It was in
was last-
March. No, it was in March.
It's March 28th, I think.
March 28th meeting.
So I would make a motion to rescind the motion made on March 28th regarding the Historical Society shed.
To deny the shed.
Right.
Which was to deny, correct. We would need support on that.
I will support.
So we'll support. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Nay.
Your nay. Your nay.
Aye.
Trish?
Aye.
I'll go with aye. Okay, so we rescinded that initial motion. So now somebody has to make a motion, whether we want to allow them to put that on. Now, with the caveats, it will have a limestone pad that's bordered nicely to prevent any kind of weeds and everything that's going through, and whatever else, what else did we discuss? I think that was it, correct?
I will make a motion to approve the Historical Society puts the proposed 10 by 16 shed on our property as long as it is on a proper gravel base that is bordered and it is kept maintained.
Support.
Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Nay.
Okay.
Aye.
Nothing against you, Jim.
So we got
Yeah,
1,
that's
2,
true.
3. You got the nays, you got the ayes?
Yeah.
Okay.
We just need numbers, or do we need names? Just
It
numbers.
should be identifying.
Yeah, for the nays. Yep. Sure.
Thank you.
All right.
See you, planning commission.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you still gotta go through that, but,
I understand.
yeah.
Holly, I don't have a problem with the gravel underneath, right? The intent, as states in my letter, right, is that when we can afford it, we'll lift it up, we'll put a concrete pad under it. We'll put an HVAC system and electric in the thing. We may even put solar panels on the top of it so that we don't have to have an electric bill. But we can't afford that now. And I have the need for that now. So I appreciate your support, and I will get the revisions on the applications and get them to action.
Jim. All right.
Jim?
All right. Second part of new business under finance, demolition RFP of 117 School Street, sorry. Facts. The BFI committee has reviewed the demolition RFP and is recommending this RFP used with the additions highlighted in yellow.
Let me preface this with, obviously, we have not completed this purchase of 117 School Street. I did have another conversation with the listing agent today. Things should be wrapped up within the next week or two. So we should be able to close soon. So the BFI committee wanted to get this ready so that as soon as we do complete the sale, we can get this out there and work on getting it torn down and getting a parking lot put in, maybe before Heritage Fest.
Legal issues. So my understanding of the problem with regard to the seller is that it turns out she is not the sole owner, and the other half owner is deceased. So probate estate had to be opened.
Mhm.
When you open probate, do we know that the probate estate has been opened?
Yes.
Started.
Yep, she has an attorney. Yep.
Okay, and do we know if the notice to creditors has been published? Okay, and so and for a minimum, the probate estate has to stay open for 5 months, and you have to wait out the 4 months from date of publication.
We still are able to close. I don't know how long they have to keep it open, but we still are able to close. Her funds may have to be held in escrow, but we will be allowed to close.
She has to hold the funds. in
Yes.
escrow.
That may be title's requirement due to that, but we will be able to close.
Who would be the escrow agent?
The title company is escrow agent.
That's already lined up?
Mhm.
For the, who's the title company?
Is it Bell Title? I
Yeah,
deal with
it
so
was
many title
Bell.
companies. That was Bell. Yep.
All right.
And they're out of Shelby, I
Okay.
believe. So, yep.
So Steve, this is more of a question for you. If probate goes out and something comes back within those 5 months, and we've already closed, what would we be on the hook for if creditors were to stake a claim?
They would go after the money in
They're staking a
escrow.
claim on the probate, not on the
Yeah.
building.
We're going after the estate.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good question, and, yeah.
But then would it be hers to
any-
sell?
Any creditor would be going after the net sale proceeds, which would be
If
held
we
in escrow.
already, but
So, yeah, I think.
there's already a clear title where there's no liens or anything like that, so it's not on the actual building itself. There's nothing, no creditors going after that building, so we shouldn't have anything, there's nothing to worry
Right,
about.
So here, let me go back to what the issue was. It was held in an LLC. The owners did the LLC on their own, did not realize what they were getting themselves into with the verbiage. So the LLC was written between both of them. There wasn't language in there to say basically how it was supposed to all be split. So the only thing they're talking about is the proceeds to the building. The LLC is still allowed to sell the building, and it's just the half of what the deceased person's supposed to get. So it's not holding up the offer. It's not holding up the dollar amount. It's just that.
It should work.
Can I ask a question? The dollar amount is not subject to change. Probate court won't determine that she has to sell it for the appraisal amount.
I don't believe so.
Okay.
But yeah, is this being treated as if the purchase agreement is still in effect?
Yes,
Yes.
it is. Yep.
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 Okay.
Our purchase
So
agreement
the
is still in
that
effect.
locks-
We
yeah.
extended our closing date.
We extended all
Locks
that.
in the purchase price.
Correct.
That's what I make sure. Okay,
Yeah, and we re-signed forms to do all that.
okay. Yeah, should be okay.
Okay, so anywho, back to the RFP.
So the RFP, when this building does become ours finally, this will be the RFP to be used. You want to talk through what you,
So me, Angela, and Krista sat down and looked at multiple RFPs Angela pulled for us and added some things to the original one that Angela had worked up that we thought were things that maybe we had missed the first go around, and just they're more really just CYAs basically. And just so site tour and inquiries, obviously, because there is currently a building on the property and we will keep it locked up, but they need to know what they're dealing with. They need to be able to get into the building. You know, they have the right to, you know, ask Angela to give them a tour of the building. Abatement, I saw this in one of them and I thought that was important because that building is old. We don't know what that building was made of. I still haven't even gotten to go into it, honestly, but what I understand, it's mostly just rafters and block. But just in case there were anything, we want to make sure our contractor disposes of it properly. So we threw that in there.
That was it.
That's it. That's all we really added. So
I do have a question about, I know, so if we only get one person to bid on this,
we do have a clause in here that states that we have the right to accept or not accept any bids.
okay,
Yes.
perfect.
Yes, that is in here. We discussed that and we made sure it was in there. Yes.
It's on the last page. One more. Sorry.
Thank you. Flip
That,
it
yep,
over.
okay.
Flip it over. There you go. It says the Almont DDA reserves the right to reject any or all proposals and to waive any informalities or irregularities in the proposals
perfect.
received.
when I looked at it before, can I throw something out there? Either under project overview or scope of work, should it be, I know there was wording in here about not disrupting surrounding area, but so these people understand that, should we have it notated that the building is partially attached to another? In either project overview or scope? Just because
Probably in scope or
Yeah.
overview. Hold on, let me read that.
it does. Like I said, I had somebody
Probably
will
in scope. Yeah, that's not a terrible idea.
I would.
Yes. I think our original thought was we were hoping that we would be able to acquire that building as well, but
Right. Well,
can I get a response?
I
So-
said, I had somebody willing to do it for diesel fuel
Yes.
if they don't, weren't worried about knocking other things down, so yeah, I'd have that in there.
I would help them.
Are semis allowed down that street past there?
There's a sign on one of
I
those
believe
streets. Yeah, I don't think
I
so.
don't believe there are.
Okay, or like bigger trucks, so is that something that we need to,
I think that's only using them as a through street.
okay, so we don't, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be there, that's there for work
Okay.
purposes. Most of those signage are for through, unless it's a
I
weight thing,
believe,
but
no,
I
I
don't think
believe
so.
that's what it says. Is
Yeah.
No through trucks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
A good call.
But yes.
I would like to add that.
No problem.
Well, I will make a motion to approve the demolition RFP with the addition that Andy mentioned to be posted once the property purchase of 117 School Street is complete.
I'll second.
Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right. Maybe tear down a building someday.
Monday, right? Fingers crossed.
Maybe.
Is that you?
All right, at this point in time, we're gonna have to go into closed session to discuss Angela's annual review.
My request.
At her request. Businesses to continue after the closed session, but unfortunately, gentlemen, we're gonna have to kick you out. You are welcome back after if you'd like. You can stand outside.
We can give you a call.
Yeah. You can go sort through all the recycling, find something good.
Yeah.
You need I think you need a motion.
Yeah, once they're gone, I'm gonna need a
you for
motion to
coming.
go into,
I think it's roll call.
yeah, it's roll call.
Okay.
We're,
Thank you, John.
Thanks, John.
Thanks, Jim.
we don't gotta do a motion, just straight to roll call to go in. Okay, that's right.
Yeah,
You're right.
and then close the doors after that.
Correct. All right, so let's get a roll call to go into closed session.
Ashland Glasser, president. Mr. Booth, president.
Just,
Actually,
Just say aye.
I,
Oh,
I
aye.
remain.
Sorry.
I'm new.
I
was
you're fine.
Yeah, you're good.
You want me to call? Ashland Glasser,
Aye.
Krista Booth,
Aye.
Steve
Aye.
Schneider, Holly Miller,
Aye.
Andy, Rose,
Aye.
Melissa Schneider,
Aye.
Tricia Feldman.
Aye.
And that's exactly what you should be doing when we're doing roll call, start of the meeting.
I'll do
You should be the
it.
one-
Yeah.
I'll start first for everything.
Yeah,
That's where you're at.
sorry,
You're on
you're sitting in the kiddie chair. I don't know what to tell you.
No. Well, you like stare at me and I'm like, oh, what am I doing wrong?
That's what
I'm staring at
over
it.
there, I would always get
What you
Holly
doing?
here.
So that is
Yeah.
just called roll call for closed session?
Correct.
Okay.